have a TV?
No. I just like to read the TV guide. Read the TV guide. You don't need a TV.
Television addict! Television addict! Television addict!
It's TV Guidance Counselor. It's Wednesday, which means it's a brand new episode of the show. It'd be very weird if I just said, here's a rerun or an old episode of the show. Do podcasts do that? Do they release reruns? Well, I haven't. Maybe I'll do it in the future. But anyway, it is Wednesday, which means it's time for a new episode of the show. And my guest today is Mr. Dave Hill, who is incredibly funny. I really, really enjoyed recording this episode and re-listening to it recently. It was a lot of fun. Dave is a very talented guy. He's very funny, and he's also a great musician. I think that if you are unfamiliar with Dave, you should get familiar with him because you would really enjoy his work. We recorded this at the Bridgetown Comedy Festival, sort of at the end of the festival in a hotel lobby, and some weird family was literally having a birthday party in the lobby behind us. I don't think you can hear too much of it at all, but it was a very odd atmosphere. I'm pretty sure they weren't even staying in the hotel. I don't know why they were there or what, and it wasn't like a nice part of the lobby. It was just like a very strange, almost like a service entrance part of the lobby. It was very odd, but I'm just trying to set the stage for you with exactly what we were doing when we recorded this. So it's a lot of fun. I think you'll enjoy the chat. I enjoyed having it, and sit back, relax, and listen to this week's episode of TV Guidance Counselor with my guest, Dave Hill. Dave Hill.
Hello.
How are you, sir?
I'm really great. Thanks for asking.
Oh, you're quite welcome. We're luxuriating here in the lobby of the Doubletree Hotel.
Yeah.
There's a family having a pizza party behind us.
Yeah, they seem to be in this luxurious. Do you know what's really exciting about this place? I don't know if you've noticed, but the logo for the Do you know what the logo for the Doubletree Hotel is?
Is it 2D? It looks like Daredevil.
2 trees.
Oh, 2
But
trees.
then there's a D, which is like bonus content.
Yeah, so it's
as far
double
as
D trees.
Yeah, they nailed it.
Do you
It's
think
like
there
the
are
best
people,
logo?
like, I wonder if there's a Doubletree that's known as a prostitution front and people just call it the Double Ds in some part of town?
You know, I would hope so. I was in Hong Kong once, and I was staying at I think the Grand Hyatt. That's a hotel, right?
Yeah.
And to my mind, it was like, well, this is a classy hotel.
Yeah.
But it was crawling with prostitutes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like every woman in the place. And what I later found out was the area I was in was all prostitutes.
If that's like you're in Prostitute Village. You didn't know?
This area, Wan Chai, and everywhere I went was prostitutes. And then I was in the hotel bar, and then finally this prostitute was talking to me. I was like, and she was like Portuguese and not Chinese or anything, not Asian, and she's like, well, and I was like, fine. I was like, what, is everyone in Hong Kong a prostitute?
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, in this area, yeah.
Some people are triads.
Yeah, triads and prostitutes.
Yeah, it's Prostitute Village. It's always so weird to me. I mean, I'm not involved in the world of prostitutes or organized crime but yet that's not what's weird to me. I made it sound like it's so weird to me that I'm not a hooker, but there's like these weird like concurrent alternate universes going on in places that you don't know about, almost, that just like are all around you.
I couldn't figure. I mean, I went out in Hong Kong like by myself, because I'd gotten there and I was like, well, I'm here, I should go out. What were you there
for? Just
a friend of mine was there with his family. He was going with his family, and I was like, hey, you should have told me I would have come with you, like jokingly.
Right.
And he's like, well, come, you can stay in my room.
I bet his
So I
wife was
called
there.
his bluff. I was like, all right, and I bought a ticket.
Nice.
And I went, and
how did he react to that?
I think he was genuinely happy about it, except that I snore really badly. He didn't like that part.
Yeah.
But so he was tired, and I went out, and not knowing it was like in Prostitute City.
Yeah.
And
they see a white American guy, they're like, why else would you be here?
Yeah, and then but then when I went to the hotel, I was like, well, the Grand Hyatt, a classy place like this isn't going to be all prostitutes. but there was all these young, pretty girls talking to like these old dudes, and I was like, I'm a happening young guy.
I'm not getting any action.
Yeah,
here.
and then I figured, oh, it's all prostitutes.
A friend of mine was the night concierge at a really fancy, like 5-star hotel in Boston when we were in college. And the first night that he was working, he called me. He was like, one of the guests wants me to get them a prostitute. And I was like, I don't know why you called me, first of all.
Wait, what year was this?
Is that 1999?
Oh, so maybe, yeah, because I feel now there must be, you could just...
You just do it yourself. Unless you're like a really old man. Or you that's like part of the hotel.
Oh, part of your thrill is like getting someone to have
making someone to do it.
I could see that.
So
I've never done that, but if I...
That's what I would do.
If I were into that, I guess I could
like ordering room service or something. And I was like, I don't know, just get the Boston Phoenix, which was like our version of like the Village Voice or something.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay. And he's like, Phoenix work great. And then he used to have to do that all the time. And one night, he got a call from a guy who was like, a prostitute just robbed me. They're coming down the elevator right now. And this was at like 3 or 4 in the morning because he did overnights. This is a nice hotel. And he sees the elevator coming down. And he's like, he knows it's this person because no one else is on the elevator.
Yeah.
And this like 6'6" black dude in a dress and a wig gets off the thing.
Oh.
And he had beat the shit out of this guy in the hotel room and just taken all his stuff.
Whoa.
And my friend was like, I'm just letting it go.
Just let it go.
Yeah, just let it go.
That's all you can do in a situation like that.
It really is. You're not going to grab the white courtesy phone and try to get some help. Just let it go. You grabbed an issue here from February 18th to the 24th, 1984. Actually, it ends up being Sweeps Week, 1984.
Oh.
So there's probably a lot of stunts in here.
Wow.
Which you may or may not have noticed.
I didn't pick up on that.
We'll figure it out. Cheers is on the cover. We have the classic
but weirdly,
Cheers
that would have been on Thursday night?
Thursday night, yep, 8 o'clock.
I didn't see that.
It was like this. It would be funny if it wasn't even on that week. It's Ted Danson, Shelley Long. This is when they're at the height of the Sam and Diane.
I'm make a note here.
And then a weird, just Rhea Perlman for no reason. It looks like Rhea Perlman has kind of photobombed this picture.
Yeah.
Like it needs to be cropped to be just Ted Danson and Shelley Long. Rhea Perlman just kind of shoehorned in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very nicely lit picture of Shelley Long.
And I like, her hair's like has sort of like...
The backlit.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a
nice touch.
It's very G, your hair smells terrific. Kind of ad, tail, mane and tail. Is that pony shampoo?
Oh, yeah.
70s pony shampoo.
Yeah, I never liked that. I was always like, why? I would dump her in a second.
She's too annoying?
When I watched that show, yeah.
Oh, but I think I don't know. Did you like...
kicked her to the curb.
Did you like Kirstie Alley's character?
I guess between the two, I would have gone... She seemed more like a real person. Yes. As I recall. And she was at the peak of her powers.
She was. And she played like a completely neurotic, like psycho. And Shelley Long was kind of a know-it-all rich girl.
Yeah. I mean, I probably...
Who was your type on TV at this time? Like, what was there like a female character on a show that you were like, yeah, that's my gal?
Okay, well, look, I can tell you. Do you remember the show that John Ritter did after Three's Company? The woman, his girlfriend. I don't think they were married.
It was Three's a Crowd with his wife and her dad living with him.
I think that woman I was in love with.
So she was like a little bit quirky, kind of funny.
Yeah, but she kind of had her shit together.
Yeah.
I feel like.
So you liked someone who was solid in their life choices and could support you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of that way now.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because I have crazy and unstable and all that. I got that covered.
Yeah,
I don't need the other half of the relationship. Yeah, so even then I was like, you find it good. You need a... Yeah, there's a flower and a gardener.
Exactly.
I'm the flower.
Exactly. If you pay enough at the Grand Hyatt, maybe you could be. So let's jump right in here to Saturday night, 8 o'clock. Now, the Winter Olympics is on.
Ooh.
So this is part of the Sweeps Week stunts at 7 p.m. women's figure skating final started.
Yeah.
USA's Rosalind Summers and Elaine Zayak skate for the gold. Did you watch the Olympics when they're on?
I mean, I always liked hockey. I like a little figure skating now and again. I pretty much like, I would have watched that. I like the female solo skaters. I'm not a big couple skating guy.
Are you an ice skater?
Yeah, I'm quarter Canadian.
Yeah, because you grew up in Cleveland.
Let's get that out of the way.
So you quarter ice skate?
No, I mean I played NCAA college hockey.
Yeah.
I'm like a real thing.
Did they train you in figure skating like they do for a lot of the teams now?
No. But I trained in speed skating.
Okay, my
when I
grandmother
was
was in the 1944 Olympics doing speed skating.
No way.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I would have loved to have done that. I feel like I could have been better at that than... I mean, I was fine at hockey, but nothing special.
You wanted to do barrel jumps.
Barrel jumps. I mean, I can get some air out there. I can jump around. I could probably clear 5 barrels. I feel good about that. That's not enough.
If someone calls you out on that, are you prepared?
I would do it. Yeah. There's some areas I'm confident in.
And
that's
the barrels
one of them.
is where the number
Even
of
though I've never done it, I feel like I could do it.
You look spry. I think you could do it.
I'm pretty spry, for a flabby guy.
But you need that kind of grounding to get over the 5 barrels. With the popularity of roller derby resurgences, how come no one's ever tried to do like an ice roller derby?
Probably the maintenance.
People would die.
Strikes me the maintenance of the slanted ice would be too difficult.
Yeah,
that's that's the first thing that hits me.
Yeah, the slanted ice is a problem.
Yeah, but I would like to see it.
I would totally see that,
and I'd be incredible at that.
Yeah, you should do that. Have barrel jumping and roller derby on ice.
Yeah.
So that is on. But at 8:00, what did you go with?
I jumped in this. Silver Spoons.
Yeah,
Ricky Schroeder at the peak of his powers.
This was a huge show.
Alfonso Ribeiro. Oh, and the wife or girlfriend on
Erin
that
Gray.
show. Easy on the eyes.
She would have been my pick, Erin Gray.
Yeah,
from
I
Buck
really
Rogers
liked
to
her.
Silver Spoons. She's great. She's great. And I do want to say that they probably had a real problem counter-programming to the Olympics this year because this was the first Winter Olympics after the 1980 Miracle on Ice Winter Olympics. So this actually got a huge amount of...
Like Ruzioni.
People were very excited about these Winter Olympics after that. And so they weren't putting on a ton of stuff to counteract it, but the Silver Spoons...
I'll tell you how I would have played that one if I were the Silver Spoons people. I would have done one of those, and now for a very special episode of Silver Spoons...
You wouldn't have just rolled over, you would have taken them on.
Where you have the silent credits at the end because someone molested Ricky or something.
Or...
He was probably a little old for that episode.
Or he could have molested somebody.
Well, then you're canceled, aren't you?
Well, Mr. Belvedere did have an episode where Kevin...
He was accused of molesting?
Raped somebody.
Kevin did?
Yeah.
Oh.
And they kept going.
That was probably silent. Do you know that move though, where you're like,
the silent credits,
where they're like,
because you need a time to just think about it.
Yeah, you just got your ass handed to you by I Love Sydney.
Love Sydney with the first gay character.
Is it Love Sydney or I Love Sydney?
It was Love Sydney.
Love Sydney.
I mean, you might have loved Sydney.
No, it was Love. That's the thing. This is what I know. You must have discussed this before, but
Tony Randall.
Every time there's that, from Ellen to whatever. There was 7 million gay characters on television before all the, Roseanne, the first lesbian kiss, done. All that stuff was done
absolutely
years before.
Yeah,
and they still present it as having not happened.
Big deal.
Like we're not going to know. It was on network television. We all saw it.
Everyone knows Uncle Arthur is not a straight man.
And Paul Lynde, I mean, he had a hard life.
Oh, yeah. And
I mean, with a lot of heartache, and, I think he lost some lovers the hard way.
I remember I remember seeing him on his Halloween special and being like, why didn't he have more variety shows? Have you ever seen the Paul Lynde Halloween special with Kiss?
No, but I'll be YouTubing that when I go back upstairs.
Yeah, it's Paul Lynde's Halloween special, and the special guest is Kiss, and it's like Paul Lynde and Kiss.
In what year is this?
1977.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah,
that's Kiss
at their heights.
Yeah,
that's Phantom of the Park
original. Era. Lineup.
He never had a lot of variety shows, and I was like, he should have more variety shows. We need more Paul Lynde variety shows.
That's the thing, I know there's been some attempts at variety shows, or I've heard talk like, this person's going to have a variety show. But it's a great format. Still, you just need someone to steer that. Paul Lynde.
Paul Lynde could do it.
A Glenn Campbell.
We don't have
Paul Lynde.
Do we have a 21st century Glenn Campbell? Who's our Glenn Campbell? Where is he?
Up until recently, it was Glenn Campbell, but I think he's pretty sick by now.
I did like that record he put out a couple of years ago. The all like his covers record that was kind of like
Meet Glenn Campbell.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, well, I mean, Glenn Campbell, he's the greatest. That's a whole lot.
I would have had Glenn Campbell guest star on Different Strokes to counter program the Ice Capades.
I'm Glenn Campbell. He walks in.
Yeah. God
and
damn it.
then Arnold's like, "What you talking about?" Because he can't believe Glenn Campbell is in his apartment.
And he's an old friend of Mr. Drummond's. Like, they're in the war together.
Really, Dad? You knew Glenn Campbell?
Saved his life, Arnold.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in a foxhole. Yeah, we could get these people back. But on
and Mrs. Garrett is
Garrett's still on the show.
She's like, "Oh my God,
that's Glenn Campbell."
Yeah, she's like a teenage girl all of a sudden.
So in this one, Ricky, played by Ricky Schroeder, thoroughly enjoys his first hunting trip with his grandfather, John Houseman, until he sets his sights on the prey, an adorable and very vulnerable deer.
Well,
that is not the episode I really would have
it.
heavy-hitted against the Olympics.
He can't pull the trigger, or does he? And then he's like, "What have I done?"
Yes, there's instant regret. Instant regret.
I could see that. I mean, I've never hunted, but I imagine that I would have that.
I don't know if I
moment
could
of
hunt.
truth.
I would not have gone with Silver Spoons at this time, although a show that I enjoyed because I wanted to train.
It's not that good. I mean,
it really isn't.
Then and I,
And Ricky Schroeder, not very likable. I did
No.
like John Houseman. He was my favorite character on the show.
Yeah,
the grandfather.
wise old man.
Richard is very.
Yeah.
And I loved him in The Fog. He's got the opening scene in John Carpenter's The Fog.
Yeah.
So I was like,
he's a talent.
He's
Was
a
talent.
The Paper Chase. But I would have watched Sneak Previews, which was the Siskel and Ebert show.
Oh.
And this week they're reviewing Blame It on Rio, one of the creepiest movies of all time, and Footloose are being reviewed. So that would have been interesting. I love going on YouTube and watching old Siskel and Ebert reviews of movies just to see what they thought at the time.
Blame It on Rio. I bet they were split on both those movies.
You think split? We could probably confirm this.
I would say. So that's my guess.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. They very rarely agreed. I think that Siskel would have loved Blame It on Rio because he's kind of a perv.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, he would have been like, I thought it was hot. And then Ebert would have been like, you're disgusting.
Yeah.
And they would have punched each other. Usually is what happened.
Yeah.
So I would have
And then
definitely
he just
been
didn't
watching
have
that.
the patience for Footloose.
No, I think Footloose they would have thought was just like a trite retread of 50s teen delinquent movies.
Yeah, but then Roger would be like, you're right, Gene, you're right, but I still
fun.
enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it. It was a good 90 minutes to spend, and there's movies I would not want to have watched.
Yeah.
And then they go to commercial. So I would have watched that, and then what would you go with after that?
Well, we were talking about this before we started recording. Just to focus my hatred,
Yeah.
I would tune into Mama's Family, I think.
Yeah. This was
one of the worst shows I've ever seen in my life.
easily my least favorite sitcom of all time. And this was even people who admit to liking this show to me admit that it was terrible later. And this is the first season when it was still on NBC. It got canceled and came back in first run syndication. Even worse. That's when like Bubba and all those characters were in.
It was a horrible.
This is when they still had
piece
Betty
of
White on
crap.
the show and like Rue McClanahan. And in this particular episode, and I should mention there's only two things on at 9:30 when Mama's Family's on. That and investigative reports. So I would have watched it at the time despite hating it because that's what we did as children.
Yeah.
Otherwise you just turn the TV off.
Yeah, because if you don't leave the TV on, then
you have to go to bed.
Yeah, that could be brought up. Well, you're not watching TV. Why don't you go to bed?
Yeah, and I'm like, well.
So you'd suffer through Mama's Family just to
not
stay up.
sleep. Could you imagine that now? Like if someone said that to me now, like you either watch Mama's Family or you have to go to sleep right now. I'd be like, good night. Like, thank you.
Without question.
Yeah, it'd be fantastic. In this episode, Mama's goaded into running against the smugly incumbent and decidedly incompetent mayor. First of two parts. So now not only are you watching Mama's Family, but you're roped in that you're going to have to watch part 2 next week.
Yeah, what happens next week?
She doesn't win. I don't want to ruin it for you, but she doesn't win.
I hate that character.
It's annoying. Old people that aren't actually old people really bothers me.
No, it's the hackiest thing. Just like, that feisty old lady.
And using like an old woman voice that no one actually speaks like that. Well,
and then it's supposed to be funny every time.
No
and
one
yet it
speaks
was
like
never
that.
funny.
It was absolutely never funny.
But that was like spawn of the Carol Burnett show.
Carol Burnett show. It was a character she did in the Carol Burnett show. Yeah.
Ugh.
Vicki Lawrence sang "That's the Night That the Lights Went Out in Georgia."
This is true?
Yeah, she had like a #1 hit single.
All right, yeah, I should say I have no beef with Vicki Lawrence.
What
I just
a weird
don't like
career
that
she
character.
has. Like she could have done other things. Point being, than dress up like an old lady on a terrible sitcom. She had Vicki, her talk show.
Yeah, but to be fair, like if I were her and someone's like,
Take
hey,
some
let's
money.
take this terrible character and let's keep going. All right.
Would you have dressed up like an old lady on
Sure,
television?
I would do that today.
I think that might be the only sitcom that spun off from a sketch show in the United States. Can you think of any other ones? Well, The Honeymooners, technically, but definitely not in the 80s. Like, SNL never had a sitcom that spun off, or
No.
or even SCTV.
I mean, the
or
closest thing I could think of would be the Caveman Geico commercial.
Oh, the Geico commercials. Yeah,
turned
yeah, yeah.
into a
Yeah.
television show.
I guess that's sort of like it, yeah.
I mean,
that was
not
better,
really.
That was better than Mama's Family.
Yeah.
Yeah, much better.
Yeah.
So I am...
Nick Kroll.
Nick Kroll did it. I wonder if people seem to forget that he was on that show now. Never
I
comes
bring
up.
it up to him whenever I see
You
him.
should, yeah. Just go, hey, caveman. Or just confuse and think that you think he was an Encino Man.
Yeah.
I think he'd think that's funny.
He might.
He might
I mean,
not.
he'd tolerate probably either.
Or just confuse him
know.
for Vicki Lawrence.
Yeah.
Talk to him
Why
about
not?
Mama's Family. Yeah, I think he'd appreciate it. Airwolf is on, so I might watch the second half of Airwolf.
What was that show again?
So it was Jan Michael Vincent. It was basically the A-Team in a plane, Night Rider in a plane, that kind of thing. And this one, it's Hawk and Dominic, Jan Michael Vincent, and weirdly enough, Ernest Borgnine, who was his partner on the show, clash over who will pilot a dangerous stunt for a film which proves to be a cover for a robbery.
Oh man!
Because-
and was there like an if they don't kill each other first?
Oh, like they're
angle
going to
to
make
it?
them fight? I don't think
No,
so.
like if they're like, oh man, they don't get along, but they sure do
Oh,
get
yeah,
the
yeah.
job
Yeah,
done.
they
in
were
the end.
definitely like partners at each other's
Yeah.
odds from different
Good,
worlds.
because
Yeah.
I need that.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be that classic episode where partners have to fight each other to the death.
No,
It was like,
now that I hear you saying it, I like to see
it's
that
either
too.
one of them dies or you
the
both
smart
die.
money's on Borgnine.
Oh, Borgnine's feisty. He
Yeah.
would kick Jan Michael Vincent's
Yeah,
ass
well, didn't
through Sunday.
Ernest Borgnine live to be like 90 something,
He was
right?
like 98 years old.
And then Jan Michael Vincent, he died.
I think he's still alive. Well, he might have died inside. I think he's still moving.
It really?
Yeah. He had a big drug problem. He kind of disappeared. He was in a great movie called Big Wednesday. It was like a surf movie set in the Vietnam War.
Maybe I don't know. It's so hard to keep track of like who.
Are you thinking John Eric Hexum?
Yes.
He shot himself.
Yes,
on
on
set.
set.
Yeah. Yeah. Admittedly, an easy mistake to make.
Yeah, I feel like you gotta let me have that.
And then John Eric Hexum, was he the one that killed Martin Luther King Jr.?
I believe
I think he was
so.
the guy that did it. Yeah. So I would have watched that and not watched Mama's Family. I do want to mention too that Stacey Keach is Mickey Spillane's Mike Hammer at 10:00 that night, and the guest star.
I would have been fast asleep by then.
I love Stacey Keach. I don't know what it is. I could watch him do anything, especially being a hard-boiled detective.
Oh, but I'm still watching television at 10:00.
What'd you go with?
Well, I wanted a strong finish, so Monty Python's Flying Circus.
Yeah, I think
because I've watched one bad show, one horrible show, and then so I need to watch a classic
before you go to
program.
bed, or else you might go into a coma or
Yeah.
something like that. If your brain might just shut down. Did you watch Monty Python a lot as a kid?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like a nerd about it. Like I don't
Right.
know all of it, but. And you can tell me to shut up with the story, but I do have a good Monty Python
Yeah, go
story.
for it.
That'll tell you. I've probably told this to somebody before on recorded something or another, but my friend Carl Arnheider does a show called Inside Joke.
Yep.
And he did it at Sketchfest, and he had Terry Jones
Yes, yeah,
on
yeah.
the show, so he knew Terry that way. And then I was in London doing shows, and Carl was there. And so he got in touch with Terry, and he's like, hey, Terry and I are going to have a drink. You should come.
And you're like, I don't think so.
I was, because I had been on tour for like a couple weeks already.
Oh, okay. So you were actually kind of
And
tired.
I was wiped out, and I was just like, that's a lot of pressure to go have a drink with Terry Jones. So, but then I was like, yeah, I have to go. I can't not
what else
go.
are you going to get that opportunity?
So, but my first reaction was like, oh man, I don't think I can hold it together for something like that.
Yeah.
But so I went, and we go to this pub in Highgate.
Because you're doing the Soho Theater. That's
I don't know
usually
what
where
I
we
was
do- yeah.
doing then. I think I was just doing a bunch of shows at different places. Well, it was a weird thing because I'd done like a 2-week music tour of Europe, and then I was going to the UK to do comedy for like a week or two.
Why not just completely
So by the
wipe yourself
time I
out?
showed up to London, I was dead.
Yeah.
And then this is when this Terry Jones, grab a drink with Terry Jones thing came up. So
Which sounds like an MTV contest no one entered
yeah,
in 1985.
and so we go to this bar, and he's there with like his assistant and his girlfriend or his new wife. I can't remember but they had a young child.
Right.
This is just a couple years ago, and
Davy Jones.
So the three of them are there, or the four of them rather, and then Carl and I show up and we're hanging out, and then so everyone leaves. Well, the child, the girlfriend, and the assistant leave, and they were all delightful, and I'm just like, oh man, trying to not say anything
Stupid. Like trying to make jokes because you're like, you don't want to try to look like you're trying too hard.
I'm at least just trying to get through it, not make an ass out of myself. So I get up and I go to the bathroom, and I come back, and Terry Gilliam's sitting there.
You just called him, come on down.
I have no idea how it happened.
Was Terry Jones still there?
Yeah.
That'd be funny if they just like swapped. Like they tagged out.
Python tag team. Yeah, like so I go back to the table, and now Terry Jones, Terry Gilliam, and my friend Carl, and I'm just like, oh man, this is a lot of pressure. And they were the nicest guys, and we had a lovely time. And then Terry Jones is like, hey, I got some Indian food today. I was thinking you guys would all come over for dinner. And I'm just like, oh fuck, you gotta be kidding me.
End.
Well, it's awesome. Like I was on the one hand super psyched,
but you're not in the mood
it's
for
just
it.
more. Well, it's just more opportunity for me to make an ass of myself. I just want to, I'm like something. I'm gonna say something stupid at some point.
Or quote one of their movies, like don't mention Brazil.
Yeah, I'm gonna say some jackass thing. So I'm like, but then of course you go like, yeah, of course I'm gonna go over to his house for dinner.
Because if you told anyone, you were like, nah, they'd be like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah. So so we go over to his house, and as we're going, we're walking through this neighborhood and it's, where there's a lot of the two of them are like pointing out, we're like, that's George Michael's house. That's like all, they're pointing out these celebrity homes and sort of like giggling over it as if they're a couple of idiots like me and Carl.
They're just down to earth. They're not like, that's my fun George Michael's house.
Yeah. And I'm like, you guys are like giants compared to all the people. I didn't say that.
I'd be pointing out your house if you weren't here.
Yeah. But then we're walking along and Terry Jones and Carl are walking a few paces ahead, and Terry Gilliam's, and we're walking a little behind, just talking to the two of us. And then he's like, "Do you like the Kinks?" And the Kinks are one of my all-time favorite bands, and it's super fun to listen to them in London because
like Waterloo Sunset.
Hey, you just walk down the streets they write about, And so I'm like, yeah, I fucking love the Kinks. And he's like, oh, this is, we're walking by this door. He's like, this is Ray Davies' house. Like, we're friends with him. We should see if he wants to come out.
Can Dave come out to play?
Yeah, so we're going down to we're going to, like, knock on his door and seeing, like, oh, maybe he wants to come out.
Jeez.
And he wasn't home, but I was just like...
You must have been relieved.
I was disappointed and relieved for all the same reasons.
Yeah,
I was just like, oh, man, that's too much. Anyway, so that's my Monty Python story.
That's great. And how was dinner?
It was delightful.
Did Jones cook?
No, he had gotten takeout.
Oh, okay.
Earlier.
Okay. So you had his leftovers?
No, he got it for us
for having people over.
He picked it up, came and had the drinks.
Okay,
and we
so it
went
wasn't
back.
like
It's all very fresh
food.
and delicious.
Very fresh Indian food.
And then I had to go to a show
with a belly full of Indian food. That's
and
tough.
he got a car
and
to
sent
the
you
show
to the show
for me, and I was like, well, I got to the show and I was like, how much do I owe? They're like, oh,
it's been taken care of.
Yeah.
Now you owe him a favor.
Complete gentleman.
He might call you up
Absolutely
and be like,
delightful, as you can imagine.
Dave, I need you to do me a favor. There'll be a ball-peen hammer taped under in the third stall of a bathroom. I need you to go to this address and take care of something.
I would do it. I would.
I think most people would for Terry Jones.
Whatever he wants.
I probably wouldn't for like maybe Michael Palin. Eric Idle I wouldn't do it for.
I feel like I would, any of them.
I might kneecap someone, but I don't think I'd murder them for Eric Idle.
All right.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'd probably do whatever any of them asked.
If they were like jump over 5 barrels, you're like, I was going to do that anyway.
No problem.
I don't even...
Not a problem.
If this counts as the favor. This is the search for Mr. Neutron, who plans to dominate the world, stretches from London to the Yukon. That's the episode of Monty Python.
Nice.
So let's move on to Monday night, 8 o'clock. What'd you get?
Are we on? No, we're still on Saturday.
Oh, on Saturday, Sunday night, yes.
This is going to be long. Is this already the longest episode?
No, I did a 3-hour episode with Greg Proops.
Oh, I love Greg. Okay, so Sunday is a little...
That's a tough one.
This is what goes on with me. Sunday's very easy, I can tell you.
Oh, okay.
I'm just watching Flyers versus Rangers.
And that's hockey?
On USA at 7:30. Great 80s rivalry. I mean, there's still, I think, but I mean, I feel like that was the era for those sorts of games. You still have all the greats. I think who would you have? Would you still have, I mean, you would have, Bobby Clark out there, I think.
Would you watch hockey with, like, your parents or do you have siblings?
Yeah, but me and my dad would watch it, or my brother, but no one else. My mom or my sisters.
They weren't into it.
No. Maybe my mom would.
Did you go to a lot of games?
No, because I grew up in Cleveland, so
they don't have a team.
There's been like minor league teams, and there's the Cleveland Barons on and off, and maybe there's some version of the Barons now. I can't remember what the minor league team is called.
What was like the big thing to do in Cleveland for like an event that people would go?
Indians, baseball, Browns,
yeah.
But I never gave a shit about football. Like I just somehow, you could hook me up to like an EKG and have me watch the greatest football game of all time, and I would have
it's doing nothing
a single reaction. I don't know why.
Football's boring. I mean, I'm not a big sports guy anyway, but football, it's like 30 seconds of action and then standing around for an hour and a half. Like at least hockey, basketball, like it's moving. Like even if you don't like it, there's stuff going on.
I don't like basketball either. Hockey's really the only. I like baseball, I like tennis, but hockey is the only one that I have any
that you follow.
Yeah, any enthusiasm. The Rangers are playing as we speak, actually.
And
Game 6.
They're your team?
Yeah, I mean, they're right up the street from my apartment.
Oh, nice.
I believe in rooting for wherever you live.
I think that's fair. You should get a tax credit for that.
Yeah, because it's all bullshit anyway. None of the players, from there. They're just work. That's just a job.
Well, they
don't care.
I do this bit on stage, but they're just employees of a corporation that happens to be based there, and it's weird that people hold them up as like these emissaries from their community.
Yeah, you're just rooting for laundry, really.
Yeah, I always say
my friend Dan Dratch says.
It's like wearing a T-shirt of the president of State Street Bank and being like, "We made our fourth quarter number." Like that's how much it matters.
Yeah.
So I would not have watched that, but I would have watched Knight Rider, which was my Sunday night show by far. And this is a great one. This is seeking revenge against Michael, an old nemesis, Gartha Knight, also played by Hasselhoff. So this is the evil twin.
Does he have
episode.
A goatee?
I believe he does have a goatee.
The evil twin?
The evil twin.
Because that's the move.
Yeah. Kidnaps Devin, April, and a scientist to force a showdown between Kit and the new and improved Goliath, the other evil Kit. So there was evil Kit, and then Goliath, the other evil Kit, that was designed by evil David Hasselhoff, who they never described why he looked exactly like David Hasselhoff.
Well, I think I know how that one ended.
Yeah.
It probably was pretty... For a minute, we weren't sure.
Right.
But in the end, I feel like Michael and Kit prevailed.
Well, actually, what happened was the bad guys won, and then the rest of the seasons, the lead characters were the bad guys.
Really?
No. that would be I
feel like that
would flip the script.
I would remember that.
Can you imagine like 3 seasons in if all of a sudden just the bad guys took over and now the show was about them?
Yeah.
That America needs to do that.
They should do like they're doing all these like Coach is back.
Yeah.
Fuller House.
Yep.
And which I feel like either one of those makes it anything is possible now.
Yeah.
So why not have Knight Rider?
They did try to bring Knight Rider back. They did a thing called Knight Rider 2000 that was about David Knight's son, and it was a made-for-TV movie as a pilot, and it was terrible, and it did not do well. And that was around the time they tried to do the new Night Stalker and some more of these action shows, and they did not work. It was not good.
You've heard this before, but you have what you're taught. You know a lot of stuff.
It's sad. I don't like. There's probably more useful things I could.
Is it like a form of autism?
I think so. It probably is. I say it borders on autism.
It's impressive.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not counting matchsticks or anything, but it's something I never tried to learn. I definitely watched a ton of TV as a kid, and I would read the TV guide to like know what I was going to watch, but it just all stayed in there. It's like if you keep making that face, it'll get stuck that way. It's like my parents. Like, if you keep watching this and reading this, it's going to get stuck in there, and there's going to be things you need to know that aren't going to be able to fit, and that's kind of what happened.
Wow.
Sort of a cautionary tale. I do like Hasselhoff, though. I will watch him in anything.
He's a talent.
Yeah, he's just engaging. Good guy to watch.
I did think that conceit of Baywatch Nights wasn't that believable.
Season 1 or season 2?
Wow. Well, what, Lou Rawls was in season 1?
Yes, season 1 he was just a straight, he's a detective by night.
But Lou Rawls was the club owner.
Yeah.
And he was not in season 2, or he was?
No, they retooled things for season 2, and it's one of my favorite bizarre
That's when
retoolings.
supernatural stuff gets
That's
in
when
the
they
way?
started fighting monsters, and the one I always cite as the prime example is an unfrozen caveman goes on a rampage on the beach, and it's a completely serious episode.
I love it.
Yeah, Hasselhoff has to take him down.
But how does he have? How did he find the time? He's
That's the most
lifeguard all
unbelievable
day,
thing. Yeah.
Then you're fighting supernatural
He's got some
criminals
kind of weird
at night?
insomnia. Who's supernatural now? I mean, that's inhuman. I always, too, like to
Nobody.
think that, like, a guy like Hasselhoff, when I see
Craig T.
him...
Nelson, maybe.
Craig T. Nelson could, because he knows Kung Fu as Action Jackson taught us. He's
Yes.
taken on the supernatural before in Poltergeist, and he did stand-up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well-rounded.
Yeah. He started as a stand-up, Craig T. Nelson.
Wow.
Yeah, his photo's up at the Comedy Store. He's got like
Really?
an 8x10. Yeah. It's like a
I
random...
bet, does he have, like, luxurious hair?
It's thinning, but he's got more.
Yeah.
Definitely has more. Yeah, most people don't know. Craig T. Nelson, stand-up comedian.
Wow.
Very strange. I also would have...
A lot of roads to the top.
Really is true. The guy's a well-rounded individual. Television's Greatest Commercials was on as well. That was hosted by Ed McMahon and Joyce DeWitt.
Oh.
And in this, we see a tribute to commercial director Joe Siddlemeyer. I mean, you probably know what he
We
directed.
still talk about
Yep.
him to this day.
His spots for overnight delivery services play on our anxieties, fears, and embarrassments, and a montage of sports in Western locales set to Willie Nelson's "My Heroes Have Always Been Cowboys."
I'm in.
Yeah, this is pretty good for the night. So let's move on to Monday night. What are you going with?
Okay. I feel like Monday night is pretty strong. I don't even know what this is, which is not strong, but I like the title, Super Night of Rock and Roll.
Yes, this was a special, and this was on...
Because I love rock and roll, and
Yeah,
if you're
you're
going
a
to have a
rock and
super
roller.
night of it, sounds right up my alley.
I like that they couldn't just be like, Night of Rock and Roll, people might tune in.
Yeah.
If it's Super Night of Rock and Roll...
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a big Sweeps Week stunt show.
Okay.
And it's on NBC. And this was in the early 80s when we started to get that the 50s nostalgia from the 70s was still going on, but the networks were like just catching up with it.
Uh-huh.
And so this is all sort of oldies performers doing a huge concert, 2-hour concert. And
All
it's
the
to celebrate
greats.
30 years of rock and roll. So this is performances from some of rock and roll's most durable artists combined with a wealth of film clips pay homage to rock and roll's first 30 years. Introduced by Howard Hessman of WKRP in
Sure.
Cincinnati, the clips offer glimpses of, among others, rock pioneers such as Elvis Presley, Jerry Lee Lewis, and Little Richard, and shock troops of the 1960s British invasions. They called them the shock troops, which is a weird term for them.
Yeah.
The
I'd not heard
Beatles,
that
Rolling
before.
Stones, Kinks, and Animals, and the stars of Motown. And there are performances by Chuck Berry, The Temptations, Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons, Jefferson Starship, Graham Nash and the Hollies, James Brown, Martha Reeves, and here's the weirdest one, X.
Oh, wow. That's like something. There was some manager who, like, managed
Get
Martha
X
Reeves.
on
Like,
there.
I'm working with this band X. Like, guys, I can get...
Well,
I-
they were on Warner Brothers then. I think they just did Under the Big Black Sun, maybe. They do True Love Part 2 is the song they play,
Wow.
which is very, very weird lineup that X would just be on.
Yeah. I probably wouldn't have watched... I have something else lined up. Kings versus... Not to watch all hockey, but... At that time, that's what I would have. That would have.
Was
I
the
would
hockey?
have definitely wanted to see that. Kings versus North Stars.
Were you a Bruins fan at all? What
Well,
do people
I-
think of the Bruins outside of Boston?
I like, to this day, the original 6 is my favorite.
So there were only 6
Oh,
teams?
The original 6 NHL teams, Boston, New York, Detroit, Toronto, Montreal, Chicago.
Detroit's
Is
Red
that-
Wings, right?
Is that 6?
I think that's 6.
Yeah, Detroit. So yeah, Bruins I like. Unless they're playing the Rangers, then I don't like
Then you
them.
have to go with the Rangers. It's my view of sports is so skewed because growing up in Boston, everybody loves the sports teams so much that I can't
Yeah.
tell if anyone outside of Boston's even heard of the sports teams.
Yeah, no, I think word's out.
People probably have gotten word about the Bruins.
Yeah,
there is.
I'd watch some of that game.
I don't know if I've watched a hockey game on TV. I've gone to live hockey games. I made myself go to at least one live sporting event of all sports.
Oh, that's good.
Just to be like, let me just prove that I don't really like it that much.
Yeah.
I'm going to go. And then, didn't do anything for me. That's fine.
Mhm.
I had to be judicious about it. But to counter program that Super Night of Rock and Roll, we had ABC is showing the Comedy of Errors, which is set in ancient Greece, and it stars Roger Daltrey.
Wow. Okay, I don't want to watch anything I just said.
And a Shakespeare
and I want to
comedy.
watch that instead.
Yeah. Are you familiar with a lot of his acting work?
No.
Are you a big Who fan?
Yes and no. I mean, I feel like there was a time when I loved everything they did, but now I pretty much, once they, after Woodstock or whatever, I have no interest really.
Yeah.
Like I don't like any band, like the British bands, once they like turn into these arena bands, like the Kinks
They lose
suck.
some of their So you didn't
after
like Come Dancing.
No, it's horrible.
Did you-
It's fine to put on now, but like compared to, those
Won't be
first
fooled
few
again.
records, any of that's, I don't like it. The Who, I like the mod stuff.
Did you like The Pretty Things?
Yeah.
Did you ever see the movie The Monster Club?
No.
The Monster Club is the last horror anthology movie made by Amicus Studios in 1980, and it stars Vincent Price and John Carradine, and it is about a literal monster club, and they're just telling stories about these weird monsters, and the house band is the Pretty Things.
Oh, wow.
And UB40, and they play a song together called The Monster Club. And it's such a weird movie, and it's so low budget. People are just wearing like dime store masks, and it's pretty
Wow,
amazing.
I'd like to see this movie.
I think you'd like it. Yeah, The Monster Club. Welcome to the Monster Club.
But you know what movie I'm really wanting to see is later
on
Monday night. Black Emmanuel.
Black Emmanuel, starring Laura
Cinemax.
Gemser. This was an Italian ripoff of the Emmanuel movies. They also did Emmanuel in Africa and Emmanuel.
But it's a
Mondo
black
Emmanuel.
lady being Emmanuel.
A black lady being Emmanuel. Laura Gemser was her name. She played Emmanuel the most times, I believe. And did you have cable at this time?
I had cable, but I didn't have any of those channels. But it was a time, when you could kind of like, there'd always be these rumors, like if you like put a magnet on top of the box and put it between Cinemax and HBO, then Cinemax comes in.
Yeah.
And
those worked. You put
some of that stuff
paperclip.
worked. There was one weekend when I think the Playboy Channel was weirdly like unscrambling, like every few minutes, like you'd get an unscrambled boob or something, and it would just like,
you really feel like you earned it, I think, at that point.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I feel like everyone I ever talked to who's like roughly our age had a scumbag cousin that had like a satellite dish and got all kinds of weird stuff. But I built 2 black boxes out of parts. I ordered plans out of the back of Maximum Rock and Roll magazine.
Oh my
And I
gosh.
built black boxes, so we got everything. But there were friends who did it was almost like the Contra up, down, down. Like if you flip back and forth enough, it would come in clear for like a minute at a time.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I'm really earning this at this point.
But then probably wouldn't it have been if you just sat there and watched the channel for long enough? It would come in clearly for like a minute.
Possibly, I don't know. It might have been like a magic eye kind of thing. It's a boob or a sailboat. I don't know.
But the one weekend though, the Playboy Channel did come in like perfect. It would just like stop being scrambled.
Yeah.
And I kept like turning the TV, because it was on wheels.
Yeah.
And my dad knew like something's up in there.
Right,
Something's
right.
up in the family room. I don't like it. But
Did he call you out on it?
No, but he was like, "Go to bed."
Do you
son."
think there are people of our age group who now have a fetish for like scrambled up pictures of naked ladies because they got like so into the
Oh.
They're like, this is too clear. I need this to be way more.
I mean, it probably would turn me on, I guess.
Yeah.
Because that's my sweet spot. That sort of level of I'm not like into porn or anything.
You don't want the
I just
hardcore.
like a
You want a
naked
little tease.
I like a naked lady.
You want a naked lady? You
You
want a
know?
travel log about doing it.
Yeah, that's all I need.
Fun fact about Laura Gemser, people, if you've seen the documentary Best Worst Movie about Troll 2.
Sure, of course.
She was the costume designer for Troll 2. because it was produced by these Italian exploitation guys, and she went over doing the costume and makeup for
Wow,
Troll 2.
she just happy to be
just wanted
working.
to be in the business. You know?
I like it. I respect it.
I probably would have watched that as well. Many women played Emmanuel over the years, including Jules Shepard, who was in The Return of the Living Dead. She was one of the punk rockers.
But she was the only black.
She was the only black
right?
Emmanuel. And let me see what TV Guide gives Black Emmanuel for stars, because they do review every movie that plays on cable.
I'm going to
TV
say
Guide.
3 stars.
3 stars. And what would you say Siskel and Ebert who would have liked it?
Black Emmanuel?
Yeah.
Well, Ebert wrote, he was a co-writer on Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, so I think he has a soft spot for boobs.
I think he would have liked it as well. We get 2 stars. Black Emmanuel.
In their heart of hearts, they know it's a 3-star movie.
They knew it. Tuesday night, 8 o'clock. What are you going with?
It's a weeknight, but I feel like I knew, to be honest. Gallagher's on.
So do you enjoy Gallagher?
No.
But you liked comedy.
But at the time, I would have been like, I would like to see that. Like, I got no beef with him.
Yeah.
But just at the time, if they're like, some guy's gonna sledgehammer a watermelon, I would like to see that.
Yeah, I
mean,
think
if he were playing now in this hotel lobby,
I would not see it.
I wouldn't see it, and that's not a judgment on Gallagher.
But there's a lot of prostitutes around that probably have a better comedy act.
Yeah, other things we can do.
But the A-Team is on, and this is a good one, where rescuing a kidnapped victim is a, quote, piece of cake, except when the ransom money is left behind and the victim insists on having one of her kidnappers rescued as well.
Oh,
what are they going to do?
Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah, it's a Patty Hearst kind of situation.
Oh, man.
Nova that night, which you had asked me earlier, what Nova is, it's a PBS sort of anthology magazine science series normally.
Right.
But this episode is about Dudley Moore, and it's Dudley Moore orchestrates a serio-comic examination of the concept of time. So it's Dudley Moore doing a documentary about the concept of time. Moore seeks answers from St. Augustine, Albert Einstein, and discusses relativity with Isaac Asimov.
See, television and our culture in general is going backwards so quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Because the fact that something like, I don't know if that was good or bad, it's probably awesome.
It sounds pretty good. It sounds pretty heady and also entertaining.
But, that would never happen now.
No.
Never. No. And why it seems like there's always this assumption like, whoa, we're moving forward. It's like, no. I think it's absolutely shittier than ever.
You would not get an hour on a network dedicated to a fairly famous comedian doing a serious scientific subject.
No.
Yeah. It would be, just like a show like Wipeout. That's what we have instead right now.
Or, everyone that's on that show would just be playing ping pong.
Yeah. Or video ping pong.
Yeah, and we'd all have to be entertained by that.
So that's what I would probably go with, because it sounds pretty great. I also want to point out The Eyes of Laura Mars is on, which is a movie that John Carpenter actually wrote about murderous fashion models with Faye Dunaway in it from 1978.
Ooh.
Which is a pretty good movie. And I would have probably flipped around there.
That sounds good.
It's a pretty good movie. Recommended. After you watch The Monster Club, Eyes of Laura Mars.
Yeah. I'm in.
9 o'clock, what are you going with?
Oh, Man with Two Brains.
Oh, you watched Man with Two Brains, Steve Martin. So not the best Carl Reiner, Steve Martin collaboration. It's the middle movie. It's a dumb movie. I mean, it's real dumb. But it's entertaining. It's not a bad choice. You didn't really have a lot of other choices at that time. Madeline was on, though, which is Madeline Kahn's sitcom.
Yeah.
Very short-lived and actually a pretty entertaining show, and I think I would have gone with that.
See, I would have anything... Steve Martin, I would have just gone. I mean, that time.
What's your favorite Steve Martin movie?
The Jerk.
The Jerk, is the classic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, of that era.
This was the follow-up to The Jerk, and I think it could have only been disappointing for people after The Jerk.
Yeah, where do you go from The Jerk?
There's nowhere to go after The Jerk.
No.
Wednesday night, 8 o'clock, what'd you go with?
I think my times are. I know at some point I'm watching Pee Wee Herman on HBO.
Yes, that's the original Pee Wee Herman special from 1982.
Yeah.
This is before Pee Wee's Big Adventure. This was the
Before Pee Wee, before any of it.
Yeah, this was what made his name. So he had a failed auditions for Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, I'd heard about
And he
that.
went out to LA and started this Pee Wee Herman show, and it became a huge hit at the Roxy. And they did it for months and months, and HBO filmed it. And this is what led to the movie and the children's series. But it's the nightclub show, and it's a live sort of stand-up cabaret type show, and it's risque. And I wore out 3 tapes of this show from different video stores.
Oh my gosh!
I would rent it like once a week
have
and
it
watch
on DVD.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I love Pee Wee Herman's one of my all-time favorites. I just love
He's so funny.
everything he's done.
It's such a great show, and it had that amazing set. Was the first time I'd seen a set like that. That was designed by oh my god, the guy who did Jimbo, and it's a famous artist.
Not Gary Panter.
Gary Panter.
Oh,
yeah.
is it?
Gary Panter did the set design.
He did the set design on Pee Wee's Playhouse also.
Yeah, and the original stage show.
Yeah, it's amazing. Rob Zombie worked on that show as well.
The thing that really...
Somebody else. There was all sorts of interesting people that worked on that show.
It was an amazing behind-the-scenes cast. One of the very Rob Zombie type things on the Pee Wee's Playhouse show is that the scooter helmet that he wears, it's like a very Ed Big Daddy Roth type scooter helmet. And Rob Zombie worked on that specific item. And when you see it now, you're like, of course he did. Look at that.
Oh, wow.
Did you
I didn't know
go
that.
to, in New York, did you go to any of the Broadway shows when he did?
I did, yeah.
That was a remake of this actual special that they updated it a little bit. They swapped out Cowboy Curtis for Captain Carl because he was played by Phil Hartman, who is no longer with us.
Yeah.
But it was pretty much the same exact script from the original special.
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, it was sort of like the ending. But it's like, where do you go?
Yeah.
How else?
I still quote that
I was
special.
just upset that it was ending.
Yeah,
that's
you just
why
wanted it to go forever.
Didn't like the ending as much as
I loved Cherry. It was weird because it sort of combined the two things. There's 2 things I still quote from this original special. One is when he gets Dr. Mondo out and hypnotizes the plant in the audience, and her name is Joan, and then he's just like, Joan. And then they're watching an old educational film strip about Mr. Bungle, and this kid gets a giant piece of cake, and he goes, is that a big enough piece of cake or what? I say that to so many people if they just have a giant piece of cake. They have no idea what I'm talking about, but I still say it.
He's the best.
He really is. He's and I'm so excited for the new movie.
I know, they're shooting it now, right?
Yeah, in New York, actually.
Yeah, I've seen like people posting like just running into him and things like that.
I would love to meet him.
But
someday.
I love him. He's
a hero of mine.
He's in my, top 5 of all time.
And I love that like Cassandra Peterson, who's Elvira, was like a writing partner with him, and they all kind of like it's just amazing. Like that whole era of LA, sort of punk rock, art, the comedy just fascinates me. Like that, I completely am in love with that era of Los Angeles history. So that is not a bad thing to watch. I definitely would have watched that.
What time is that on?
So that's on at 9:30 on Wednesday night.
Oh, okay. So earlier in the night, and this is, it would be like, I guess, syndication episode is Barney Miller at 7:30.
Yeah, I love Barney Miller.
Big Jack Sue fan.
Jack Sue's hilarious. Have you seen that documentary, You Don't Know Jack?
No.
About Jack Sue? It's really fascinating.
Oh my gosh.
Because he was...
You're a wealth of information.
I don't know if it's
That's an
useful
understatement.
He was in a Japanese internment camp. And his last name is not Sue. He changed it to Sue so it sounded more Chinese, so he could get work as a singer. He put an album out on Motown. He was signed to Motown.
Oh my gosh!
And he did some great stuff.
I'm about to go down a huge Jack Sue wormhole.
Yeah, he did all this great Motown stuff. He's really funny on the show, and that's a show that might be one of my favorite sitcoms of all time. It's a bottle episode every episode. It's just guys in a room talking, and is engaging and fascinating and amazing. And went through major cast changes when Jack Sue died halfway through, but still remained an amazing show. Like when Fish left for his spinoff, you got Steve Ladisberg added to the show, and it was fantastic.
I talked to Abe Vigoda on the phone once, not to brag.
How was that?
It was a thrill. I have the show I do on and off at UCB, the Dave Hill Explosion, and I knew that he lived in town in New York, and we had the same commercial agent, and he just gave me his phone number, and I just called him at his house.
And he was like, oh, hey, what's up?
Yeah, and he was very nice, and he was sort of like, well, Let me think about it.
Yeah.
And that was the only time we ever spoke, but it was a great thrill.
He has a very funny line in the film Good Burger, the Nickelodeon movie with Keenan and Kel.
Yeah.
And he falls down and he goes, "I think I broke my ass." And it's worth watching the whole movie just for that one moment. I would have definitely watched that. And then at 8 o'clock, I think I would have been intrigued by Real People.
Oh, yeah, Real People. Fred Willard was on that show.
Yes, Fred Willard was on the show.
Another one of the greatest
Amazing.
of all time.
This is reports on a photographer named Peter B. Kaplan who, quote, hangs out on the ledges of New York City's tallest buildings, a handicapped tennis coach, an expert boat bottle builder from Toronto, canoe skiing in Maine, the official skunk catcher of North Syracuse, New York, and artist Dustin Schuler, who nails an airplane to a wall.
All right.
That's a whole week's worth of entertainment in 1 hour.
Byron Allen was on that show, right?
Byron Allen was on Real People, yes, because there was Real People and there's That's Incredible.
Oh, yeah, because I was about to say John Davidson, but
John
he was
Davidson
That's
was
Incredible.
That's Incredible.
Wait, Byron Allen was Real People, though.
Yes.
And then there was that woman, Sarah Purcell.
Yep. Yes.
And then that woman, I don't know why I called her that.
You've had some history with her.
She was the only, I got
that woman.
That's true. No, I got no beef with her.
Yeah.
But Fred Willard, I love.
Fred Willard
Do
is
you know
great.
Byron Allen, I'd read, is one of the top 5 wealthiest comedians in the world?
Really? How?
Yeah, I think he's figured something out. I don't know.
Do you think he's got something going on? Like
he is Comics Unleashed, that humorous television
Once
show.
he unleashed the comics, he just
very
unleashed
funny
the finances. I'm watching that for probably an hour, and then what are you going with?
Sandford and Son.
Another repeat, but a show that you loved?
To this day, yeah. Red Fox, Damon Wilson.
Yeah. Did you ever watch any of the spin-offs, like Grady?
Yeah, and I was going to see if you knew this. Do you know the Damon Wilson spinoff?
What was the Damon Wilson spin-off?
I just am about to school you.
Is he the big fat guy with the beard?
No, he's the son.
Oh, yeah.
Baby, I'm Back.
Baby, I'm Back. I'm not familiar with it.
It was only on for like 1 or 2 seasons.
Did it make it even that long? Did you remember watching it?
No, I just know that it was a thing.
Sandford and Son might be one of the top 5 most successful remakes of a UK series. Because it's based on Steptoe and Son, about a junk man, which I like Sandford and Son better, I have to say. Red Fox is fantastic. I would have gone with probably Facts of Life. I'm a big Facts of Life fan.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
What era would that have been?
This would have been right before my favorite era. My favorite era was when Edna's Edibles burned down. They opened Over Our Heads, which was like a Spencer Gifts, and you had George Clooney on the show.
Oh yeah,
and I loved that era of the show. This was right.
He was a
before
handyman.
That. Yep, named George.
Jerry Jewell on then?
Jerry Jewell was on then. On
Blair's
and off.
cousin?
Yes, Blair's cousin Jerry. I went and saw her do stand-up when I was a kid because I loved her in Facts of Life. And her stand-up's really filthy.
Oh, wow.
What
did she have? She had
MS.
cerebral palsy?
I think she had MS. It was CP. Yeah, she had cerebral palsy. Yeah, because she had a joke that was, my husband gets confused. He asked me, is that an orgasm or cerebral palsy? That was the joke I remember seeing her do when I went to see her as a kid. And I was
you must have been
embarrassed.
taken aback.
I was a little taken aback by Jerry Jewell. This one is a marriage.
But there's another thing that would never happen now. You would never
someone
have
with
a
a disability on a show?
like a legitimate,
and
on a comedy, never.
Because she was on Deadwood. That was the last thing she did.
Oh, she was?
Yeah, she was
I
on
didn't know
Deadwood.
that.
She was really good on Deadwood. But this is
So the guy, Walt Jr.,
yes,
he has, I think, is it cerebral palsy? He has something.
He might.
On Breaking Bad, but I think he said he plays it up on the show more than the actual.
Yeah, but
that's not a comedy.
And they don't write it in to the shows as much anymore. And the Facts of Life made a big deal out of it. We have a character that's... You never see people in wheelchairs in things.
No.
Just as a regular character. They'll come in for one episode and make a big deal out of the fact that the person's in a wheelchair for a plot, but they're never like a main character in a thing.
No.
That's weird.
But we do have, Game of Thrones.
Are there people in wheelchairs?
No, but there's Peter Dinklage.
That's true. People love him.
They do. They love him.
This episode is a marriage.
And they should. I'm not saying...
No, he's a good... Yeah.
I had no beef with him.
No. Well, him and that woman.
Clear.
Him and that woman.
And Sarah Purcell.
Should get
my
together
shit list.
and just have a show that you hate. This is a marriage proposal from Blair's boyfriend. Starts her dreaming about the future for herself and her friends. This is one of those fantasy episodes. It's not the best episode.
Blair, she's a bit of a nut in real life.
Lisa Whelchel. Yeah, she's
in the hot sauce.
Conservative Christian. Yep, she puts hot sauce in her kids' eyes to discipline them.
Eyes? I thought it's just mouth.
I think it was eyes in the book. I have the book.
The eyes, that's fucking insane.
Yeah, she has an album too. She has
If she's putting the eyes now, I have a real problem with her.
She has a synth pop album from 1985 that's Christian synth pop called All for Him.
Wow.
I own it. It's worth listening to.
I thought she was the hottest thing in the world
She's very
at the
pretty,
time.
but she was so upper class. You know, that was across the tracks kind of
untouchable.
thing. Yeah.
That's why we had Joel Polnicek.
That's right.
Approachable.
Nancy McKeon.
Little did we know the problems that would arise in that situation.
Yep. And her dad was played by one of my favorite Boston actors, Alex Rocco.
Wow.
Yeah. Who is Mo Green in The Godfather. Oh, come on, Joe. He's in Friends of Eddie Coyle. Great.
Yeah.
Then he played Joe's dad.
Oh man.
It's not a thing to be proud of.
Can't believe I got one by you with Baby
I know.
on Back.
I know. You should. That is pretty good. That might be a first on the show.
That.
Who was the fat guy though on that show? Like the big dumb Southern guy that they always making fun of on Sandford and Son.
A dumb Southern guy.
He looked like Hillbilly Jim. It wasn't Southern, maybe. He had what I call a chili beard, which is the kind of beard that I see on someone that I just assume has chili in it at all times.
Oh, gosh, I can't picture who this is.
He's a big fat. He was a character that was in a lot of stuff at the time, and he was like their punching bag in the later seasons. It wasn't great. It was a name. I mean, he had a name first of all, so that narrows it down.
Yeah.
In a chili beard.
I have a friend I could call and he could answer any of these questions
about Sandford and Son.
Almost about any of this stuff. I feel like if you have an equal, it's my friend Pat Queso, the Sausage King of Cleveland.
Excellent. Queso at that. Do they call him natural queso?
It's queso, C-A-S-A,
queso.
Italian for house.
That's nice.
But
well, maybe we'll consult him after, and I can put in the show notes.
Be a good,
who was on that show. 9:30. I'm watching Night Court.
Oh, that's a good call.
Created by former Barney Miller. People who wrote for Barney Miller.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I like that show.
Reinhold Weege.
Who's, I don't know why I can't think of his name, the star of the show.
Harry Anderson.
Yeah, he was a comedian, right?
Yeah, he was a magic comedian.
Yeah, he would do like things like
stick a needle.
Yeah. I thought he was in...
He was on SNL a lot. He has a fascinating background. He was like a homeless street kid in New Orleans, picked up magic, was like a hustler, got on TV, like really fascinating guy.
Yeah, he seems interesting.
This episode is very appropriate for what we discussed at the beginning of the episode here. A hooker mistakes Harry's kindness for love, and Dan seems to be losing the city council election.
That's John Larroquette.
To a dead man, who still holds the record for the most Emmy wins in a television show for Best Comedic Supporting Actor.
Wow.
To the point where he asked them to stop nominating him.
Bold.
Yeah, but he was right. He said, hey, give it to someone else.
Yeah.
He's a guy that I always thought would be a movie star, and it never worked. He was in a lot of movies, and it just never clicked.
It's weird though. I feel like it's not the case anymore, but it used to be like you couldn't crossing over.
Yeah, you were a
but
TV
now
actor
people just
or movie
do
actor.
whatever.
Yeah, I think that the line is very fuzzy now. And John Larroquette, he got robbed. He was in Blind Date. He's great in that.
But he's fine, probably, right? He probably
I'm sure he's
lives
doing
in
okay.
Pasadena.
Yeah, and he still does a lot of acting. He was in that show, The Librarians. He was on Chuck. He plays the villain in a bunch of stuff in recent years. He was on that show Almost Human recently. He played a villain. I love him. He's just great.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Did you have anything? We think.
We assume.
Yeah, I mean, he's no Peter Dinklage.
No.
Do you have anything else that you did on Wednesday night?
Well, you're not going to like this.
Okay.
I'm just checking in at 8 p.m. I'm gonna check out this week in NHL real quick.
But even though you watched the other games, you just want a reminder?
I just get a sense. I like the pageantry.
Okay.
Wayne Gretzky would have been, just getting his start.
Is he your all-time favorite?
Maybe. I mean, I just read Gordie Howe's autobiography, and I can't recommend it enough. This is what happened. And I know I only like hockey. I don't give a shit about any other sport. Yeah. But I was in the airport, and I saw the Bob Orr autobiography, and I was like, well, I should probably read that. And it was good. And then I was like, maybe I was flying to L.A. or something, and I read it, and then coming back, I saw the Gordie Howe autobiography, and I was like, well, I should probably read that. And I thought, there's no way his book is going to be as good as Bobby Orr's. Better. I met Cam Neely. Ooh.
I was dressed as Clifford the Big Red Dog at my job, Actually, weirdly, so it was this company that was next door to where they produced the show Nova.
Oh,
and
wow.
I got roped into dressing up like Clifford for like this kids party we were having.
Sure.
And in the middle of it, I had to make photocopies, so I was photocopying things
You're
dressed
a
as Clifford. Yeah, I can
multitasker.
do a lot of things. I'm like a John Davidson. and then Cam Neely came in, and I recognize, not being sort of, but I still recognize him because it's Boston, and I was like, hey, Cam Neely. So there's a photo of like me.
Did you have the head on or no?
I had taken the head off to make the photocopies because I thought that would have been a little ridiculous.
A little strange.
Yeah. So you're watching that, and then Thursday night, what'd you go with?
Thursday.
This is a good night. There's tough choices here.
Thursday, I'm going with all syndication until I'm watching WKR. I'm from Cleveland. WKRP in Cincinnati is just the fact that there was a show about a fictional radio station just down the road.
Yeah.
It's very exciting. Howard Hessman, Lonnie Anderson. I like the Bailey character.
Yeah, you were a Bailey guy.
That was the modern
Ginger and Marianne.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think I really liked Bailey.
Bailey was great.
And then Les Nessman, Gordon Jump. I'm jumping between character names and actor
Gordon
names.
Jump, who played a child molester on Different Strokes.
I remember that.
He's Mr. Bicycle Man.
Yeah, he got Arnold drunk.
Yep, and Dudley. He molested
Dudley. Maybe he molested. Yeah.
And he made them play a game called Neptune King of the Sea.
Wow, did they get in a bath or something?
No, this disturbed me so much as a kid because they only referenced it, and it's clearly a joke name that a comic writer wrote. You don't know what it is. Like he goes, "Oh, it's fun. We played Neptune King of the Sea," and they come in and Dudley's got like no shirt on, and Gordon Jump's like, "Yay!" And I'm like, what in God's name happened in that show?
Oh my God! See, that's the silent credits episode, isn't it?
Yeah, or I think that might be an even more rare, the sad version credits, because all of them. would
where
have
they
like,
switch it to a minor
just
key,
a piano minor key version of the song. Yeah,
that's the move.
Yeah,
really.
that is the classy way to go. I remember seeing Friday the 13th Part 5, The New Beginning in the theater.
Yeah,
and the kid who plays
flawed, not bad.
Yeah, kind of a.
I've seen every one of those movies in the theater.
So have I. What's your favorite?
I would say 2.
You like 2
or 4?
Okay, interesting choices.
Talking about Dudley, he's in
5.
In 5,
yeah.
When he's in the bulldozer,
yes.
Hero
with
saves the day.
The fake Jason.
Yeah,
is in that movie.
But that scene when Dudley is behind the bull is maybe the greatest scene in any movie ever.
I think so. Yeah, it won an Oscar. Just that scene. They had an honorary Oscar that year in 85.
I remember just so many good scenes in those movies. Like, maybe it's in 6 where he drags the guy out of the tent.
The sleeping bag scene?
Yeah.
That's 6, yeah. With Arnold Horshack in the opening scene, gets his heart ripped out. Ron Palillo.
Because he's trying to wake him up. He tries to dig up the grave or something.
That's the first. Part 6 is the first movie Kane Hodder played Jason, who went on to play him in the most amount of movies. Tom McLaughlin directed that one, and that's the one with Alice Cooper's Man Behind the Mask. He did the theme song to that movie. But the kid who plays Dudley is in Part 5, as you mentioned, and I saw that in the theater, and I remember there's a scene where he's in some trouble at the end, and this woman in the crowd was so disturbed, she started screaming, "Don't kill Dudley," and was like really, really upset.
Well, I can understand that.
Yeah, I mean, we love him on TV.
But we know they're not going to kill Dudley. He wasn't old enough.
No.
He wasn't old. He didn't have sex or smoke pot.
Right.
So they wouldn't get there. You know he's not going to die.
He wasn't doing Dubage or one of the ladies. Yeah. Dudley, you'll be all right.
But, oh, man.
Great
Talk
movies.
about when he just breaks out that bold. Oh
yeah. Dudley.
I've never been happier in my life.
I think that scene should just play before sporting events instead of the national anthem. I think that would get everyone rallied up. Everyone would stand and put their hand on their heart and then show the Dudley bulldozer scene. I think that would be the way to do it.
Or just between plays when you're trying to get everyone pumped.
Rally the troops.
Between whistles or whatever, you show that.
You could probably get that actor to just come out on the ice driving a bulldozer. A Zamboni that looks like a bulldozer.
I'd like to see it.
Let's make it We'll have that happen during our roller derby, ice roller derby. We'll have him. We're going to make so much money off this. You know what we're going to have? Byron Allen money. That's what's going to happen.
That's
That's the life.
Say what you want about Byron Allen.
He's got money.
He's doing fine.
Yeah. There's a lot of things on this night. We have Magnum PI, and this is an episode with Kay Lenz in it. We have Life's Most Embarrassing Moments, which was a ripoff of Bloopers and Practical Jokes that was hosted by Don Rickles.
So it's just guys getting hit in the nuts and pants falling down.
No, not so much like America's Funniest Home Videos. This was like flubs from TV and movies.
Oh, okay.
And this one actually I would have watched because at the beginning, this is not something I'm into, but you'll be able to tell where it flips. It's a look at celebrity goofs with host Steve Allen, Bobby Riggs, Billie Jean King, Tony Danza, Bert Parks, and horror movie hostess Elvira, along with former Miss America Lee Merriweather and former Catwoman, which they don't mention.
Where did they get the money to pay all these? These people
I don't
are
know.
all on the
They're
same
all on
show?
this 60-minute show. I mean, this is a superstar show.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Wall-to-wall stars.
Well, here's why. They had to counter-program the Democratic presidential primary political debates.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's
Yeah.
why they came out swinging.
Yeah, you got to get Bert Convey if you want to
Yeah.
get any chance of getting a
Oh,
rating over that.
man.
So this was a tough night for me at that time. I don't know, that's a tough
Well,
call.
wait, so this is still Thursday, right?
This is still Thursday, yeah.
So, I'm jumping around. I watched Taxi,
Yep. So you're going classic.
Three's Company, because,
Yep. Why not?
yeah,
Regal
always
Beagle, you got to
humorous.
see some jiggle.
Always good. And then MASH.
Quality.
Another show, good. They can
Tug the
ping-pong
heartstrings.
yeah, wherever they can go, wherever they want to go.
Absolutely. And so I'm watching it, but then Dom DeLuise has a special after this. Another rating stunts sweeps week
Wow.
special.
Yeah,
this
you
is
gotta tune into
Oh yeah,
that.
this is an hour of comedy vignettes with Dom DeLuise playing a nearsighted doctor. Dean
I'm
Martin is the
listening.
patient.
Oh, man.
And a knife thrower, Dean Martin is the target, the father of a newborn son, played by the camera, and Brutus to Rich Little's Julius Caesar, special guest appearance. You know who it is.
Okay, Jerry Jewell?
It's not Jerry Jewell. They couldn't have gotten her. Mr. Burt Reynolds.
Oh, wow.
Who would
of
believe Burt
course.
Reynolds would
Well,
show
we
up in
know
a Dom
who-
DeLuise?
We know who made that call.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing there's no way I wouldn't be watching that.
Yeah, that's
Dom DeLuise had a really weird sitcom that was a variety show sitcom, and he played a barber, owned a barber shop, and it was sort of like a talk show. Like guests would come in and he'd like interview them while he cut their hair, but it also had like sitcom plot elements, and it was really bizarre, really.
And was
weird.
he playing Dom DeLuise or
Yes, Dom DeLuise, but as a barber.
Okay.
It was like just a madness tunnel.
I always mistake him for Paul Prudhomme, the chef.
Yes, they're very similar. Well, because
Yeah.
also Dom DeLuise used to do a lot of cooking.
Yeah. So
You ever
the
see
lines
Fatso?
are blurred.
Fatso's a great movie.
Oh, I know that it was a thing, but I don't think I saw it.
That's a great movie. Anything else you have on Thursday night?
Cheers was on that night.
Classic episode of Cheers.
So I would have watched all of WKRP,
Yep.
all of Taxi.
Yep.
No, maybe I would have watched all of Taxi and all of MASH and dipped in and out of Three's Company, WKRP in Cincinnati, and then Cheers.
So you're going with the quality TV night basically for the evening.
Basically. I mean,
Yeah.
there's,
And that's a good, this is sort of
Those
a
are-
must-see TV.
those are all pretty
It's
classic
totally
shows.
respectable. I do want to say at 10 o'clock, if you didn't get enough Dean Martin on the Dom DeLuise special, it's the Dean Martin Celebrity Roast of Joan Collins.
Ooh, I missed that. I would have watched that, to be honest.
The roasters include B. Arthur, Ann Baxter, Milton Berle, Red Buttons, Don DeLuise, Angie Dickinson, Rich Little, Gavin McLeod, Don Rickles, Rich Little, Gavin McLeod, Don Rickles, and many, many more. I didn't make an excuse. If you look at the listing here, it repeats those names like 5 times. I can't
They
tell.
really slam. They hit
Is
you
that
in
a
the
joke
head.
or a mistake? I feel like that's a mistake.
I think it's a mistake, or maybe they were just in case it didn't register.
I feel like
Rich Little, Gavin McLeod, and Don Rickles.
if you're a TV Guide ad copy guy, don't try to be funny. I feel like that's the person who should not be attempting humor.
Yeah, but
Hey,
they're cranking out
did you ever
a
see
big
this-
issue every week.
Did you ever see that Celebrity Roast ad where we repeat Don Rickles 8
Yeah.
times? That was me. I did that.
That's my stuff.
That was
Well,
my thing.
It's hard to get noticed in those TV Guide offices, I imagine.
2020 is on at 10 o'clock as well.
Oh, I was gonna say I do like I like a news magazine.
That was the only show I wasn't allowed to watch.
Well, because Hugh Downs would come on.
My parents were like, "You're gonna try to be like him, and he's a bad influence." No, because I would get terrified of. I watched every horror movie that ever came out. Never bothered me, as evidenced by the Friday the 13th series, and that I had a bulldozer. But I would get terrified of whatever the news story was. Like, don't wear lap seatbelts, your back will break. Don't use an ATM, you'll get robbed. Watch out for the Moonies. There's medical waste at the beach. All that stuff, and it was all from 2020. So I'd have to sneak it. But this episode may have been the most disturbing I've seen in a while. This is Scheduled: How Some Police Departments Respond to Reports of Missing Children, and a profile on the music group Menudo.
Oh, wow. I was, because I was thinking, I remember Kiss was on 2020.
Yeah, so was Blondie. They did a lot of music profiles.
I was really psyched. I remember the night Kiss was on, I stayed up late to watch it, and somehow I fell asleep in the living room, and I was left there, because they were like, oh,
he's fine.
The most adorable boy in the world, to sleep on the family floor.
We can't disturb him.
Pissed the fan room, on the floor.
Oh, you pissed the couch?
On the floor.
Yeah.
I woke up in my own pee.
Have you
in
ever
a big wet spot. I was just a little kid.
Have you ever had someone else wet your bed?
Not to my knowledge.
Yeah, I did a sleepover. Like, I went to a sleepover at a friend's house or something once, and there was a bunch of kids. I was maybe 8 or 9, and I was sleeping on the sofa bed with like 2 other kids, and I woke up just covered in piss, and I was like, I never wet the bed, and I was relieved, no pun intended, to find out it wasn't mine. But then I'm like, no, wait, I think this is worse.
Oh yeah, that's definitely worse.
Someone else pissed me. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I would have had a hard time with that one.
That's
I have
rough.
To say.
So the final night of the week, Friday night, there is some gems on this night. What'd you go with?
Oh, well, it's a lot of jumping around.
It's a tough night. There's a lot to jump around.
I'm only really watching 1 full hour, but I'm jumping around. This is like, in the way I envision it, my dad's just come home with some Little Caesars pizza because hey, yeah, let's say it. Let's not bother cooking. I'll just run out and get some pizza.
It's Friday night pizza night.
So he comes home with those 2 delicious pizzas.
They had the best ads, I will say, in the 80s as well. They were amazing.
Pizza, pizza.
Yeah. And do you remember, for a short-lived time, they had a thing called chocolate raviolis. They were like white chocolate raviolis with dark chocolate in the middle, and you would get them free with the pizza.
I mean, I remember when they had the what are those called? The breadsticks? Yeah. When I thought that was a power move.
It's great. So Dad's home with the pizza.
So he shows up. We're having so much fun. And we're like, hey, let's watch Andy Griffith. Let's see what that Otis has gotten himself
Is that what you would
to.
watch with your dad?
Well, at like 6 o'clock. My dad would be like, that's stupid.
Yeah.
He wouldn't watch it.
Did you ever watch SCTV?
Yeah. My dad would be into that.
My favorite. Well, this is maybe not my favorite thing, but so they would do a lot of Andy Griffith parodies on SCTV, and Eugene Levy would play Floyd the Barber, but he decided to play him post-stroke. So, because like the last 2 seasons, so it was just like this cruel. He was like, "Oh, B," like it was the creepiest thing, and it scared the shit out of me as a kid.
I remember I never got this shirt, but sort of at what I remember as the advent of ironic T-shirts.
The Floyd the Barber shirt.
The Pink Floyd shirt.
Yeah.
And I never got it, but someday.
Someday you'll find it.
Someday I'm going to be an old man sitting around in that Pink Floyd shirt.
When you get that Byron Allen money,
humorous.
You can buy every last Pink Floyd shirt in the universe.
Thing is, I wouldn't even wear it to Applebee's or wherever you think I would wear it. That would be for around the house.
Yeah.
And I'd be psyched.
Only you would know.
Yeah, I don't need to do stuff for other people.
No, this is for you.
Yeah.
So you're watching that, and then what are you doing after the pizza?
Then Carol Burnett's on.
Hoping that Mama's Family is not one of the sketches.
But Harvey Korman.
Harvey Korman might hit Tim Conway with a hat.
Yeah, and they might laugh a little bit in the middle of the bit. And maybe my dad will tune into that for a little bit. Then Hogan's Heroes is on.
Did you ever see Autofocus?
Yeah, well, that's the Greg Kinnear vehicle. That's the life of Bob Crane.
Yeah. From Hogan's Heroes.
Sad tale.
Super creepy.
This is why I don't live in L.A. Because I don't want these problems.
You don't want to get murdered by Willem Defoe.
That's the last thing I need.
That's why most people don't live in L.A. because of their fear of Willem Defoe.
Yeah, I just don't want to go out like that. No. Though Willem Dafoe, I think we live in the same neighborhood in New York, ironically. So he could get me.
He may have moved there to get you. Have you ever seen him in the street?
I have. I ate brunch next to him once. It was pretty cool.
Was he like, hey, Dave, why don't you come over for Indian food?
You're going to wake up dead.
Yeah. Wow.
Hogan's Heroes, that, maybe I'd check in LeBeau. And then Wait, what's after that? I can't even. Sandford and Son's on again.
So you're going with all the classic reruns all night.
Well, I'm just checking these out. I'm going back. I'm
what
talking
episode
to my
is
parents.
it? Yeah, it's background music. For
Yeah,
it.
it's wallpaper. It's whatever. And I'm eating pizza, and then we're fighting over what we're gonna watch at 8.
Right. This
But
is tough.
It's no question. We're watching Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah. All families love Dukes of Hazzard.
Catherine Bach. There's something
Catherine
for
Bach's
everybody.
Fantastic.
Boss
There really
Hog.
is. This one is a crime boss pursues Daisy after she mistakenly picks up his book of racketeering activities instead of the notes for her theater group's play. Now, I want to point out this night is a night of television cliches more than any other night this week. It
Yeah,
kicks
it's
it
a
off with
lot.
this. This is the classic diamond thieves switched suitcases at the airport. Oh, it looks like my notebook, but it's your bookie notebook. You know, Adventures in Babysitting. This Playboy has all these things in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is a classic episode. And
man.
on Benson that night,
Robert Guillaume.
Robert Guillaume, most people know from the Phantom of the Opera.
Sure.
This is Denise's baby is on the way. But
Denise is his daughter.
it's a friend. But the hospital elevator isn't leaving Benson and the governor perform the delivery between floors. They're trapped in an elevator with a pregnant woman. This is yet another of the classic television cliches.
Yeah.
I mean, it's happened in 20, 30 shows. I won't get in an elevator with a pregnant woman because of these television shows.
Oh, well, yeah, with good reason.
I don't like elevators.
Isn't Robert Guillaume? That's not his real last name, Guillaume.
Guillaume?
That's like
What is his real last name?
I don't think I'm making this up, but I think that's not his real last name.
It might not be.
He just thought it would be cool.
Guillaume's
And
just
it
a cool
is.
last- It is
He's
a cool
not
last
wrong.
name. Yeah.
Just like Willem Defoe.
Yeah.
I think it's just William, isn't it?
I think
The
it might
balls
be
on
William.
that guy.
Yeah. His first name's Guillaume. Yeah.
Wasn't Guillaume just William in French?
I think it is, yeah. Guillaume. It's Emmanuel. Guillaume Emmanuel.
Guillaume Emmanuel. Oh, I would like to have such a friend.
I think we could all. If you go to Hong Kong, you probably purchase a woman named Guillaume Emmanuel for a few
I
hours.
would.
And then
That's my one takeaway. With my of many takeaways, as I need to see a bit
Yeah.
of Black Emmanuel stat.
Yeah, Jack Sue and Black Emmanuel
Post-haste.
wearing your Pink Floyd shirt.
Yeah.
There's also a very special primetime edition of the Solid Gold Countdown.
No
And this-
interest.
No Marilyn McCoo, Bonnie Tyler, Spandau Ballet.
No, it's too
Wow.
late in the
It's too late in the night for
music's over.
Fair enough.
I mean, no, there's we're there's muddy waters
yeah,
by that year with music.
no
I
rock
think.
and roll for you. But Rick Springfield.
No, I'll be back. I'll check in a few more years
But I have two words,
once
Dave.
Rat gets their shit together.
Well, Stephen Piercy's doing a little tour this summer.
No, you need all or
You need
nothing.
a rat, yeah. Milton Berle's nephew, I think, was their manager.
That's correct.
Yeah. But two words for you. This is the last thing I'll try to swing you on this Solid Gold episode, and I think it might work.
Okay.
Frank Stallone.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll buy that.
Yeah. And then what else you going with that night?
11:30. Best of Groucho.
Yeah. And this was clips from You Bet Your Life, mostly. I would always watch Groucho. If it was on TV, I'm watching it.
Yeah.
Uh,
So check that out.
Webster was on this night as well.
Webster. Wasn't the wife on that show naked in Porky's or something?
Well, Alex Karras was in Porky's,
Okay.
and he was married in real life to the wife on that show.
And then wasn't she... I keep thinking she was topless in
She
something.
might have been.
Which just messed with my head, because you think, why is
Webster's
Webster's
mom?
mom topless? That's
What's the
fucked
first
up.
movie you remember seeing boobs in?
I think I was just talking about this. I want to say, well, The Deep, there's a scene where there's like a wet T-shirt where you pretty much see
Yeah.
nipples, and that's pretty great.
Is the
But
world-
Airplane, maybe.
There's nudity in Airplane?
Yeah, the scene when
The
Kitten
Africans?
Natividad runs by.
Yes, that's true. Yes, yes.
I had dinner with her.
Did you really? She's a Russ Meyer.
Yeah,
classic.
she was on my Dave Hill Explosion show in L.A., and then I said I would like to take you to dinner
Would you like
while
to
I'm
come
in
for
town,
Indian food?
and I took her. Wait, do you know this story?
No. Did you take her for Indian food?
No, but these are subsequent nights.
Yeah.
The first night, Ronnie James Dio was the
Nice.
guest, and he asked me if I wanted to get Indian food. Not that night. He's like, next time you're in town, let's get Indian
From
food.
Portsmouth, New Hampshire, originally.
Oh man. So, but it ended up that was before he was getting back with Black Sabbath. Well, they called it Heaven and Hell. So we never, and then he died, you know, and we never did have that Indian food. But even the fact that Ronnie James Dio looked me in the eye and asked me to get Indian food was one of, that's right up there with Terry Gilliam asked me if we want to see if Ray Davies is home.
These go on your gravestone.
These are my these are my showbiz memories.
Yeah, you've written your own epitaph here.
Yeah.
I think that's sort of, it's like, you know, like a rainbow in the dark. Let's get some papadoms. And then Kitten Natividad, you went the next day?
We got sushi.
Yeah, she seems like a sushi gal.
Yeah, and she was a delight.
Did you ever see the unofficial sequel to Fast Times at Ridgemont High, The Wildlife, that Eddie Van Halen did the score for?
No.
So it's Cameron Crowe wrote it. Ooh. And Eddie Van Halen was his first film score. And when you watch it, you see a lot of the guitar tracks he would later reuse in the Sammy Hagar days. So like there's a guitar version of Right Now in it and all kinds of stuff.
Oh,
but
wow.
Kitten Natividad is in it, doing a whole strip show scene in like a giant champagne glass, and grabs Chris Penn's face and just shoves it in her chest.
Oh, well, you know, she was also this stripper at Sean Penn's bachelor party when he married Madonna.
That makes sense. So maybe he either
is
knew
true.
her from this thing, or maybe Chris Penn was like, I know a stripper.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. It's all coming together.
Yeah, it all comes back to you.
I mean, she's, but she was a very interesting woman.
Yeah, she's led a crazy life.
Yeah, I mean, you know, some good times and some bad times.
Some ups and downs for Kitten.
She's had a hard life.
Yeah, I mean, you name your kid Kitten, she's going to be in for some good times and
take
some bad
lumps.
times. It's true. Just like naming your kid Dudley. Have you ever met anyone named Dudley?
My firstborn son will be named Dudley.
Dudley. Because everyone would just call him Dud.
Yeah, it's he's setting, but you know.
I mean, best case they're calling him Lee. Just name him Lee.
Yeah. Lee, L-E-Y.
Yeah.
And then he spends the rest of his life correcting people. L-E-E? No, L-E-Y.
That's L-E-Y. It's L-E-I-G-H.
And then he's some asshole.
Yeah, and they're like, you're a real dud.
Yeah.
Dudley. My God. Anything else you had written down there, or is that your night?
We're
on Friday?
No, Best of Groucho.
Just Best of Groucho.
Was the last thing. And
I do want to mention Night Flight is on, and Friday Night Videos.
Oh, I would like to see both of those.
Those are great.
If I were at my house, I bet, you know, once you get into those later hours, was always tricky. Let me ask you, am I watching these shows then, or am I going back in time now as grown-up Dave?
It could be both. I'll answer you with a yes. Here's what we'll do.
Okay.
Your current grown-up Dave's consciousness is traveling back to childhood Dave's body.
Okay.
So you're watching them then, but you have your mind now.
Well, what would happen is my mom probably would have fallen asleep on the couch and keep telling me to go to bed and like keep commenting on what I was watching and ask me why I was watching. And I'd be like, well, you're just asleep on the couch. She's like, I'm just resting my eyes.
Yes, the resting my eyes. The fantastic.
And it would go on until we would start yelling. Then my dad would come down.
What are you doing?
And just be like, just turn off the TV. It's too late.
Everybody.
And then, just to really piss me off, it would be after midnight. And this is, you know, I love my dad, but he's one of those people who, though we have not run into this in a long time. When I remember, like, it would be like 12:30.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, I need you to cut the lawn today.
12:30 a.m.?
Well, like, that's what I'd say. You want me to go outside and cut the lawn right now? He's like, no, today. Cut it this afternoon. Like, he's, like, really literal.
Yes.
With the calendar.
It's the next day, yeah.
Yeah, that would enrage me. So he'd come down and tell me to turn off the TV and go to bed, and then pull some crap about what was happening today. Later. Yeah, and I'd be like, and then we get in a fight about still the day before in my mind.
I got into a fight 2 different places, not a physical fight, surprisingly for Boston, about this. One, there's a Home Depot in Somerville, Massachusetts, and their hours list 12 a.m. to 10 p.m. And what they mean is 12 p.m.
Yeah.
And I was buying something there, and I said to the manager, we happen to be staying, I didn't like call him out, like, but he was there, and I went, you mean 12 p.m.? And he goes, no, it's in the morning. And I go, so 11:59 at night, when it turns 12 at that time, like Saturday Night Live's on for a half an hour or 12, you open? No, that's 12 p.m. And I'm like, no, it's 12 a.m.
And that's why he's stuck managing that store.
That's why he's stuck managing that store. And I used to work at a local TV station, and when I was in college, and I was the complaint line So if an old person called,
Oh
I
my
would get I
gosh.
got some amazing complaints. But I would get complaints from old people who said, I set my VCR to tape a show at 12 a.m. And then it wasn't on. It was infomercials or whatever. And I'm like, you set it for 12 a.m. No, this was on at night. And it would be like this constant argument about 12 a.m. versus p.m.
You know, this.
We go military time. It's the only way to do it.
Well, that's what, a lot of people, like in Europe, it seems like everyone, when I'm over there, you look at someone's iPhone, it's set up.
Yeah.
Everyone's rocking military time.
Well, that's because they had a couple of wars. And
Yeah,
they know
they
we
saw
need
what
to
happened.
let's solve this conflict.
Get it together.
Yeah, Terry Jones probably is on military time. He's like, hey, Dave, you want to come over and have Indian food at like 1900 hours?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're like, I'm in. What time does Ray Davies get home? 2300.
Yeah. All right.
We're
see
all on
if
the
he
same
wants any.
page.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for doing the show.
Thanks for having me. I hope I did all right.
Oh, yeah, you did. It's great picks. They're solid.
You're catching me at the end of this grueling
Festival. Yeah, this was tough. Everybody's broken.
It's like salmon swimming upstream.
Yeah.
We've mutated.
We're in the lobby here, and we're seeing these comedians just literally crawling out of here and just crumpled. They're not the same people they were on Friday.
They're questioning their lives. Some of them, I heard some talking about getting their real estate license. Some others talking about going to grad school.
Yeah, I mean, well, when we all got to this festival, the general of the festival, which for people who don't do comedy don't know, all festivals have a general.
Yeah.
Gave us that speech that was basically like, hey, look around, look beside you. 40% of these people aren't going to be around on Monday, and if it's not the person next to you, it's you. And that was tough.
Yeah, but we needed to hear it. We
did. I think it made the shows better.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we ate a lot of donuts.
I got one more to go. They have a lot of donuts.
A lot of donuts.
Do we seek out donuts?
Here's my problem. I will eat any free food. So
you haven't answered my question.
Oh, like, will I purchase donuts?
Would you ever be like, hey, I'm going to head into town and grab some donuts?
Yeah, I do that every week.
do? Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Oh, I love donuts.
I never do that. When I see a donut, I'll be like, oh, that's cool.
It's like U2. I would never buy their album, but if they're on the radio, like, oh, not bad. Yeah, that's U2 is your
exactly
donuts.
Right.
Yeah,
that's exactly.
Are you not a sweets guy?
I am.
Oh, but donuts is not your preferred.
I guess donuts just seem like too much of a
indulgence.
Yeah, because it's hard for me to keep the pounds off.
That is difficult. I just stopped caring.
So I think
is this worth it? I'm gonna have some cheesecake if I'm gonna do it, like that kind of thing.
Yeah. If you're gonna do it, is that how you want to eat? You don't want some bullshit donut. Do it right.
You don't want to get cop fat.
Right.
Yeah. You want to get Dom DeLuise fat.
Yeah. You want wheelchair fat.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you might
which ironically is Paul Prudhomme.
Yeah, fat. And you might be on a TV show in a wheelchair as wheelchair fat.
Come full circle.
You want to be a guy that goes into a Target, gets on the scooter, and no one questions why you're on it.
Yes.
They won't say, that's not for you. They're just going to go, hey, he needs that.
Yeah, he's lucky to be out of the house.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Dave.
Thank you.
Oh, baby, I see you in my TV set. Yeah, baby, I see you in my TV set. I cut your head off and put
there you go. That was Dave Hill. Dave was correct. Robert Guillaume's real name is Robert Williams, because apparently Guillaume is William in French. Some people just live a lie, and I'm not going to judge them for it, but it happens. And in full disclosure, Robert Williams. So, as always, I would love it if you would email me. That sounded sarcastic. It is not. You can email me at tvguidancecounselor@gmail.com or at ken@icanread.com. I am also at TV Guidance on Twitter, or you can search TV Guidance Counselor on our Facebook page and have discussions there and all kinds of fun stuff. I also will put up links to all Dave Hill's stuff, including his radio show and all his stuff, on tvguidancecounselor.com, so you can find all that stuff there. You can also probably Google them, but go to tvguidancecounselor.com, sign up for our email list. And if you like the show, rate and review the show. It is a huge help. Helps people find out about the show, helps new listeners find it on iTunes, and tell a friend. You don't have to. There's no way that I could check that you did that, but, I'm asking for me. And for the kids. I don't know which kids, but do it for them. As always, we have new episodes every single Wednesday, so we'll see you again next Wednesday on TV Guidance Counselor.
I have crazy and unstable and all that. I got that covered. You're just rooting for laundry. He has a soft spot for boobs.